Hey, what up, everyone? I think I just got a bizarre message right before it went live, and I'm like, wait, what did it say? Did it say it's not broadcasting? So let me go check my channel. Oh yeah, okay, I'm on. Perfect. Um, Excellent. Welcome, everybody. Another kind of last minute stream. This one is because of just the really I just boredom, I guess, on some level, and also I need to clear my head. I think after the vet today with Ace, I came home and just started writing, and then a little bit ago we took a walk, and I just kind of zoned out on the walk. We went to a dog park nearby, and so I was like, "All right, let's go." And now he's gonna drink a ton of water and interrupt. um, so anyway, so we did that, and I kind of zoned out. And the worst part is there was an alarm on my phone going off telling me to get home because I had a Zoom call with a friend at 6 o'clock, and I kind of missed that completely. So I felt bad because normally I don't like to miss things, especially to have that kind of reason for missing things. I should have planned the walk for a later or earlier. But I mean, my friend was very nice, and he's like, "Hey, we'll talk another time." But I felt really bad about it, and he was like, "Dude, don't feel bad. It's fine." And I'm like, I do though, I do. But I a couple recently we were talking about stuff on the stream, and by the way, anyone who's here, hello. If you show up now or later, welcome. Feel free to comment if you want. I'll just kind of ramble. I didn't really kind of plan this. I sprung it on everybody. I was like, "Hey, would you like to see me do a live stream in like 10 minutes?" And didn't really give anyone a chance to vote or need to have a say in it. So I kind of just sprung this on everybody. But on our last streams, I was talking about how my day job isn't something that typically stresses me out. But occasionally have a bad moment here or there, but for the most part, not really. The part of my life that stresses me out the most is writing. So I thought maybe today we could actually talk about some of my comic books that I wrote, because I know I said I would do that a long time ago and I never did. So we'll kind of discuss a little bit about Monomyth, and which is a 3-issue miniseries I did from Awesome Comics, and the art by the amazing Eric Ninatowski, PJ Katakutin, amazing artist doing variant covers right now for The Last Ronin, and doing some cool stuff coming up in Heavy Metal Magazine, I believe. I think that's where he's working now, but he's amazingly talented dude who did the colors, but he's also a fantastic artist himself. And then I believe Steve Wands, who is if you know anything about comic book and lettering, Steve Wands is involved. He's an awesome dude. So I think he's the one who lettered this, because we aimed really high and we got a lot of good people. Yeah, Steve Wands. So the lettering on this book and the art on this book is just top notch. I was very lucky to have this opportunity. Hey, what's up, Lisa? Let me get some comments in here. Lisa, hi, how are you? Good to see you. And Andrew, you made it to the stream. Welcome. Thank you both for being here. So yes, I hope you're both doing well. And today, like I said, I think zoning out and everything just kind of, I came back in and I was sitting at the computer. I actually came back in and I was like, oh my God, I'm late for the Zoom meeting. I was like 20 minutes late. And my friend was like, hey, it's fine. We kind of already missed the window for right now. I'll send you some more times. We can talk later on maybe, or another day if you need to. And I just felt like so bad. And then I look over and I realized there was cold food on the counter. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, it looks like I had made some food, but then I was like, then why would I leave? So you see what I'm saying? Like, I kind of had like that kind of moment. And then I just was like, you know what, instead of coming back over and just like diving back into wherever I left off writing wise, I just saved the document and closed it for now and said, let's do a live stream where I talk about writing, because some of these, it seems like, because I like to look for patterns and things. I have to sometimes with behavior and stuff. So some of these instances I have, it seems like they could be happening during very stressful moments. And so I was seeing if that's a dot to connect, maybe something I can bring to the doctor next time I talk to him. So I was thinking, I was like, man, maybe I was writing something and it overwhelmed me or stressed me out, because I have this, well, I won't call it an ability. It feels like I have this weird thing where some characters, when I'm writing them, most characters actually sometimes, where I'm like so connected that when they're in a moment that is like intense or something, I put myself in that situation in hopes that it'll elevate the writing, and make it feel more authentic. And unfortunately, sometimes that causes things, anxiety, panic attacks, stuff like that. So I was like, all right, let's detach from that, and maybe let's look back at something I wrote before that also caused some of that, actually. But because when you work in novels, it's harder because you're trying to create the visuals, especially with me, with that being a hard thing for me to do. That makes it more stressful. In comics, I got to work with brilliant artists who could make everything come to life and who would have ideas to bounce off me and say, hey, you wrote this, but that's kind of lame. Visually, this would look cooler. And we can still get your point across at the same time. And that's what Monomyth was. So I kind of want to talk about collaboration a little bit, and writing, and what it's like to write solo and what it's like to write when you collaborate. But then if we have time later, maybe we'll open up some DC McFarlane figures and talk about characters as well. Maybe we'll do either these two, or I have Batman and Catwoman from the new movie. So these I've been keeping them in their box in case like I need to return them, so I could get food and stuff. But I get paid tomorrow, and so I should be back on a better system. So I figured maybe two of these we can open, and the other two we'll save again in case I need something. Very happy to see you got healthy and working like crazy. Hey, that's great that you are doing better, and I'm glad you're working. And I'm so glad to see you here, Lisa. And I hope you've been well. And please, if you'll notice on my channel, I haven't really done a lot of Venom stuff lately. I did 2 live streams the other day that I kind of tied into Venom, but really I want to focus Venom vlog on movie stuff from now on. So when Morbius gets closer to coming out, we'll do some Morbius stuff. Maybe I'll try to finish up the Spider-Man Peter David black costume stuff, and I still want to do Spider-Gwen at some point when she turns into Gwenom. So I'd still like to make a video on that at some point, but I'm just not really in a rush to do it. And then after that, I probably won't dive into any more Venom comics, and I'll just be standing by waiting for Venom 3 news or wherever else we're going to see, Tom Hardy as Venom. Andrew says, cool. Yeah. So let's dive into that. The comic books. So Monomyth, the thing about this book was I was nervous about this book because it dealt with religion and like, I don't want to use the word like theology, but it kind of deals with that. Did artists really say something sucked? Let's try this. Yeah, I mean, like, not in those words. Eric was very respectful. Eric Ninatowski, who wrote this. So that brings me into what I was about to say. Like, I got nervous about this book because it deals with, it was my version to go. I grew up, but I know I grew up reading it, but I didn't remember a ton of stuff. So post-aneurysm, I reread a lot of the old What If comics going through my collection. And I was really entranced by that idea of like, okay, the world, here's like one little thing that changed and it affected so much, right? And I thought, well, what would be the ultimate what if story? And I thought, well, what if we did what if the Bible, basically? What if Eve didn't eat the apple? Where would humanity be if that happened? And that's kind of what Monomyth is about. Monomyth is about Eve not eating the apple. And the reason for that is because in the beginning here, you see Saint Michael. Saint Michael is the one who actually turns against God, and Lucifer is the one who defends God's choice to give free will to humanity. Because at this point, angels are just like automatons in a way. Like they just do what they're told because they don't know better and choice hasn't been brought in, right? Well, now that's changed and humans have been given choice, and that ripple effect is starting to bleed over, and it builds jealousy and resentment and it awakens other feelings that angels didn't have before but now are developing. And so Michael's the one that turns on humanity, and Lucifer, she's the one that defends humanity. And I actually based Lucifer off my friend Erica Luttrell, who I've had on the show before, who is a voice actress and actress, or just an actress in general. And she's been on a lot of great TV shows, and she's also done a lot of great animated voices and video game voices. And she's just so cool. And she, we've always talked, asking her what her dream project would be for like if she wanted to do a comic book character, and she was like, oh, I'd love to play Storm or somebody like that, somebody in the Black Panther universe, which I think she's actually Shuri in the Avengers DLC video game that came out recently. She does the voice of Shuri, so she got her wish there. So for Storm, I was like, well, I love Storm. That's one of my favorite X-Men characters. So I said, let's kind of build Lucifer around someone that has the kind of carries herself the way Storm does, and then base her looks off a little bit off of Erica. So that's kind of what we did with the character. So that's what the story, that's the setup. And then Eve does not eat the apple, and because of that, humanity is never cast out of paradise. But heaven does fall, because Michael is a way more lethal warrior than Lucifer and defeats most of the angels in heaven that, oppose him. So when he falls to earth, the way Lucifer fell, Michael brought a lot of archangels with him, like at his side, and they fell and they landed somewhere else out in the void of, the world somewhere where, past paradise. And because things are weird out there, because things haven't formed and haven't been shaped by humanity, it's just like a wasteland. And so Michael is, spends the first issue working his way, trying to find where humanity is again, trying to find Eden. And at this point, a little time has passed. There's a couple generations have passed since Adam and Eve. And so humanity is like existing in like this perfect bubble. And so Monomyth is about that. It's like a metaphor for the actual monomyth, right? If you look that up, it's taking an adventure, going out of your comfort zone, leaving your home, and then, going on this big adventure, which might eventually lead you back home. And that's what the story is. So anyway, yeah. Hey, what's up? Oh, thank you for Lisa. So Eric, the reason I was nervous about the book was because it had religious elements. So Eric was great because Eric is very religious. So he had a very cool perspective. I have this kind of Catholic, learned things through supernatural kind of thing. Although I have read the Bible, I read the Catholic Bible, and so I like the stories in it, but that's what they are to me. They're just stories. I don't have like a belief structure based around it or into it, but Eric does. So it was really neat coming up with ideas. So yeah, what I mean by when he said things sucked, hey Julius, what's up? How's it going? Good to see you, my friend. You're an aspiring writer too? What's up, dude? Well, welcome. Well, I'm going to talk out some things, and if you have questions, let me know about things that you're struggling with, or if you want to kind of my perspective on it. I don't have all the answers for sure, but I've been a comic book editor for years. I wrote, I still write now, and I'm kind of sharing all that stuff. So feel free to ask questions. Doing good. Hope you're well. Well, I don't want to make movies. You don't want to make movies? Well, movies are tough, right? That's a whole different animal. And I used to work in movies too. And when you collaborate on movies, it's not like comic books. Well, let me finish my point real quick. So Eric, he's really religious. So he helped shape this in a way to where I felt comfortable going to certain areas, and he would be like, okay, that's you can't really, we shouldn't really say that, but here's an alternative. Or yeah, sometimes you write a scene. I talk about this with Donnie Cates and his Venom run and stuff. Sometimes you're writing a scene where people are sitting around and talking, and you're like, okay, this is boring. Some artists don't want to draw that. They're like, hey, can they talk on a mountaintop looking over like this amazing landscape? That way you're still having your dialogue scene, but you have all this cool visual stuff as opposed to just blank backgrounds. And Eric was one of those guys who was like, I want to put cool stuff in the background as much as possible. So when you get an artist that hungry and that eager to make the book look the best it can, then yeah, when he challenges you on something like, hey, this scene doesn't work, he's not really saying it sucks, but he's just saying visually this is boring. It's just four heads talking, and you're just going to make me draw faces. And I want to draw something bigger. And some artists will take the opposite road. They'll say, hey, I've already drawn big pages. I want a couple heads talking scene. So it's a collaboration. But for movies, like from comics, when I write by myself in novels, it's just me. I hired an editor for Neverland. And I had some friends help me at first with Neverland, but then things shifted. And I said, no, I want to, I have a little bit more money at this one point, and someone was recommended to me and they were really excited to read it. And so I went and hired them, and that didn't really end up working out too well. But I still appreciated their feedback and the stuff they did put in and help me with. And so, but writing a novel, a lot of it is by yourself, and you're in your head, and you're researching things, you're looking things up, and it's a very isolating and lonely experience. Writing a comic book, when you write it, that part's the little bit of the lonely part, but then you get into the collaboration part where you know, give pages to the artist or the editor, and ideas start bouncing around, and that's a lot more fun in my mind, working in that kind of environment. And plus, it takes some of the pressure off me as a writer, knowing that someone with a visual style, and a visual storyteller is there to help navigate some of these moments. And again, like an editor to bounce ideas off of. And then sometimes you'll even get ideas from the letterer and the colorist too, who are like, hey, you know, maybe structure this, or maybe do this, or actually I can put the word bubbles over here and it'll help, you know, string this scene along. There's a lot of cool things that happen in collaboration. Movies are a headache because you have hundreds of people. Everyone has a say on something when you're making movies, because there's so many different departments. So you have people that work in lighting, you have people that are working, you know, in audio and stuff, that are like, hey, this isn't going to work if we shoot it this way, because I can't get a boom mic in or whatever. So you got to lob them, you know, put a little mic on them, hide it so it's not seen in this, you know, seen on camera. And then we got to, you know, maybe move the camera this way, or you can be further back now because the boom won't be there. There's like all these things you work out on the day. Like you can plan, and that's what pre-production's for, is you're again, hundreds of people. You start with, you know, someone at a studio with an idea or a concept or a script they bought that they want rewritten. It starts with like a couple people, and then it expands quickly, and then you bring on a writer and they start working, and then the director is working and he's coming up with ideas. You have storyboard artists, and it just like, I mean, it's crazy, the type of it's not even like rolling a snowball down the hill to make one snowball. It's just like making dozens and dozens and dozens of snowballs, and they're all going down. And that's why when a movie comes out and you think it's amazing, that is a miracle on a lot of levels, because there is so many ways to get a movie wrong with that much input. So when something comes out right, it feels good, and that's where good directing and good producing comes in, even more so than good writing. You can have a great script, but you really need a director with a vision and some producers that'll back them up to really own it in and bring it home, you know. And so making movies is just a nightmare sometimes. Cool. And Lisa says, just having a yes person isn't a collaboration, so it's cool you aren't a tyrant. I don't like egos. I mean, yeah, there's egos. I mean, to be fair, we all have egos on some level, right? Even me with Neverland. Neverland's different for me because, like I said, it was a project that Seek Pre-Aneurysm wanted to write. It was like a dream project of his, and he just never got past like a detailed outline and a couple other things that I had, or he had written. So for me to kind of carry that torch, like I said in the last episode, I did a book called Heaven's Echo that I literally was like half written or mostly written before the aneurysm, and then I had the aneurysm, and then months later I had to finish the book, and I had no idea about anything on the book. I was like, I don't know where to begin here. And I try to explain that to the editor, or the guy who was paying me to do it. And he was just like, look, this is frustrating. Yeah, I've already waited long enough for this book, but I'm like, I don't know. Like I literally don't know. And I don't know how to end this book because I'm reading the start and none of this is jiving with me. And I have to, and I'm figuring stuff out myself, you know, like, so Neverland reminds me of that a little bit, although I'm a lot better with words and things now. I'm trying to stay true to what I wanted pre-aneurysm, but I'm also like trying to do what I think is right for now with the story. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. But I think the hardest books to write were the first two. The third book actually was very easy to write. That's why I'm hoping I only have one draft of it, but I'm hoping I only have to do one edit of it, because I think I just had a much easier time with that foundation, knowing how to close this story and how to end it. So the third book wasn't as much of a nightmare to me as the first two. But then again, I haven't really started editing the third book, so I can't really say that. But yeah, I don't like, there are some things people will fight for, you know. There has definitely been a couple ideas in Monomyth where I was like, hey, I'm not flexible on this idea. Like, I'm not, but I'll still hear your idea, but just know it's going to be really hard to convince me otherwise. And I think there was one instance where I was convinced, definitely was. And then there was an instance where I wasn't, but I think I was only like that for two things. One really good moment that we had was this. I'll show you. So this is where ego comes in. So sometimes writers think, every word they write is like the best word ever, and so they want all their words in there. They want everything in the book. And for me, I do in some instances feel that way, but I'm trying to find this moment here. I'm so sorry. And I thought it was in issue 2, but oh yeah, here it is. So yes, I had this scene where Michael was on this 3-headed Cerberus dragon thing, and he is because they find the Metatron, and they use the Metatron to create creatures for them so that they can just annihilate humanity, as if they weren't powerful enough, right? They're archangels. But that's what's kind of neat about this book, is like it's really a David and Goliath story, in the sense that we kind of know it. Obviously, if you look more into David and Goliath, I think Goliath was actually the underdog in that story, but I haven't really dove too much into that. But I had this whole monologue planned out, and that was have Michael on this thing talking, to his soon-to-be victims, Enoch and some of the other main characters. And then what ended up happening was I saw the artwork, which is this here. Look at this 2-page spread. I mean, this thing is amazing. Eric absolutely killed it on this. He absolutely killed it. So when I saw that, I erased all the dialogue. I actually emailed the letterer, Steve, and I said, take all the dialogue out. He's like, what? I'm like, take it all out. I didn't even move it to here, because someone was like, oh, maybe just move some of it here and have some of it said here, and then you can maybe have some of it in the afterwards. I said, no. I said, all that stuff he says is not cooler than just seeing this. This image to me said, Michael was basically saying, like, you're all going to die. And he goes on like this tangent about where he's been, and that he's been, waiting for this moment, and he's ready to just, enact his revenge against God or whatever. And I was just like, nah, just that says it all. Like, just looking at it makes you want to crap your pants. And so once I saw the image, I said, lose the dialogue. So yeah, some people get into their head, their ego, and get a little tyranty about stuff. And they're like, no, put what I wrote in there. But I figured, even if we put one word bubble, even just one word bubble to cover any of this art, I would have been so pissed off at myself. I would have been like, you're an egomaniac, dude. I'm like, I didn't want to cover anything. The sky looks so good. The coloring, the lighting inside their mouths, the Cerberus's mouths, like, oh man, everything was so good. I was like, if I cover an inch of this page, I will be so mad. So I cut all the dialogue. Yeah. But yeah, there is that with ego sometimes. Well, I do have trouble knowing where to put punctuation in big paragraphs. Okay. Let's talk about, and forgetting the book. Yeah. You talk about Neverland. Yes. So I've had moments with that with Neverland too, where I will get ahead or get to a place and then just be like, okay, all this is Greek to me now. And I've had those moments. You're right with Neverland, but luckily that was the first 2 books. That was the main struggle. The third one I had a little bit of that with, but because I had, after book 1 and 2, once I realized it was going to be 3 books, because originally this was going to be 1 book. Neverland, when I originally kickstarted it, was 1 book. But then the idea was like, man, there's too many characters and threads here that if I wrap up this quickly, it will not feel justified, or it won't feel organic. It won't feel natural. So, okay, it's good. I had this second book called Side Stories. And I'm like, I can take some of those side story things and funnel them into this book. So that's what I'll do. I'll funnel them in. And so I said, once I funnel that in, sorry, I was checking the email. Once I funnel that in, that'll probably make it 2 books worth. But then as I was keep going, book 3 of it, I was like, okay, this is not going to be enough unless they're just going to be bigger books. But I said, no, just keep the page count you want. So it's still categorized as a young adult novel, and then just move that stuff over. And for a while, I didn't think I had enough for a 3rd book. So I was like, just write the based on the outline. And then go back and change things if you need to, or add things, or break this up and split it over the first 2 books. But luckily it just kept going. And so I had a better outline, I think, with book 3. And even if I had a few missteps with memory, luckily I had a place where I'm like, okay, I can I think I can rebuild from here. The earlier parts, the first two books, there was other elements, potential for movies, which that potential is still there, to make a movie or TV show off the books later on, that I've been contacted by, people that are interested. But for me, at one point I was focusing on that and trying to structure it in a way where it'd be easy to translate to a movie. And then I realized, what am I doing? It's ruining the actual story I want to tell. Medium, you got to respect each medium. Books are different than movies. Movies are different from comics. So you got to respect that. They're different from video games, whatever. So some things that work in one don't work in the other. And I know that now firsthand by doing Neverland. So I went back and made Neverland. I wrote it the way I wanted to as a novel, and paced it the way I wanted to as a novel. And I figured, if it's a headache for the movie people, let them worry about it. They get paid, a lot more than I will, in order to translate it. So yes, that did happen sometimes. Punctuation, though, in big paragraphs. I mean, I guess my best advice I can give there is, don't say something in 15 words if you can say it in 6 words or 8 words. Always try to make your sentences succinct. You don't want to you want to be, what's the word, the phrase, impeccable with your words, right? Like, that's one of the 4 rules to life, is be impeccable with your words. Don't take anything personally, I think, is another one. That one's tricky sometimes, I know. But writing and being impeccable is good. So even if you're not using big words or smart words, however you want to categorize that, because I go through that sometimes where I'm like, I feel like there's a smarter word for this. Don't fret so much on that. Just make sure each sentence is succinct. And if you do that, the punctuation will come naturally. I struggle sometimes with semicolons and colons. I know why. I know the definition of how they need to be used, to an extent, or an example of them, but I do. Sometimes my editor will be like, you used a colon, you meant a semicolon. I'm like, dang it. So sometimes you get blind spots. And then there's times where I would dash. I learned that from S.D. Perry, who wrote the Resident Evil novels. Sometimes if she wanted to convey an action, she would have someone thinking, like or have an emotion, like Jill steps forward, and then she'll put a dash, like a minus sign, and then the next line it'll say crash in big all capitals with exclamation points. So she had that technique. That's where I kind of picked that up from. So you'll see some of that in Neverland also, where it's like a dash and then an action or a sound effect. So I would say try not to fret too much about that. The one thing that is the hardest part about writing is getting it done. And the reason why it's hard to get it done is because you think about all those little things, punctuations, all that stuff, pacing, like all that plays in your head. Same with me. I mean, I still struggle with it. So take it from someone who has experience right now at it. Just don't fret about that stuff. Just focus on getting it done. And go back. That's what editing is for, and all that. And it'll make you appreciate actually editing. And if you get your own experience editing your stuff, and working and maybe saving up some money from a paycheck and paying someone to read it for you, be like, hey, find a friend and be like, hey, I have this 30-page script. How about I give you $50? You read it, you give me some notes on it, just so I have another person's perspective. And then you take their notes and you change them if you want, if you feel like they're giving you good notes. And then we worry about that process later. So try not to freak out too much about punctuation, even spelling sometimes. Just get it done. And then once the script is done, then you go back and do it. But I think the more succinct and impeccable with your words you are, you'll worry less about punctuation. Hey, Cam Frazier, what's up? How's it going, dude? Welcome. Skullman, I like you, Seek, but please don't tell me you joined Comicsgate. They're a bunch of grifters who lie and steal money from their readers. When did I join Comicsgate? I'm confused by your comment. I have a friend or two that's in Comicsgate, and they're not bad people. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess there are people out there that are just like hating on DC and Marvel. I don't pay attention to those guys. So I haven't joined comics. I'm writing a novel that has nothing to do with comic books. And this, Eric, we did this 8 years ago, before Comicsgate was even a thing. So yeah, I don't know. but don't be so quick to judge people like that. That's pretty harsh. I understand that there are probably people in that group that do the things you're claiming, but to blanket statement everybody seems a little, that doesn't seem fair, right? Looks like an 80s Ozzy Osbourne album cover art. Yeah. Oh, you mean the dragon thing? Yes, that's what I wanted. I wanted something really metal. And so I kind of put that in the script. And then when I got that image, I was like, wow, that was way more metal than I thought it was. For a religious guy, Eric is really metal, which is awesome. That is beautiful. Yeah, he did a good job. You liked it too? Nice. Thank you, Julius. True, it is balancing act to get things feeling naturally flowing. There can be other ways to get the same message across, which are worth entertaining. Sometimes less is more. That's exactly it. Sometimes you just, it is less is more. You're absolutely right. Now Ultimate Sin is in my head. Is it? That's cool. Don't try to be Faulkner or Aaron Sorkin when writing a script. Yeah, that's the thing is like, yeah, don't freak out about that. I mean, like you really, like I said, like I like S.D. Perry, I like Agatha Christie, both women, both my favorite writers. Also, Louise Simonson, who writes comic books, co-created Apocalypse, co-created Steel, the Superman character, who I'm a big fan of. She's done a lot of great stuff in comics, and I'm a big fan of hers too. So most of my favorite writers are women, and the style each one brings is very unique, and that's who I learned the most from. I've read Stephen King, I've read Dean Koontz, I've read other writers and stuff. I obviously read comics, Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder, Bendis, like all these people. I'm a big fan of Pete Tomasi. I love Peter David. And so for me, I try to not emulate them. I just try to go, okay, what did I learn from them? And then just go from there. And I think that's what Julius is saying too, is about being Sorkin and all those other people. It's like, just don't think about that while you're writing. Just get this, what the story is, focus on that. And even if you, like I do this sometimes, I'll skip entire chapters or scenes. When I was doing Neverland, I would start writing and then I'd go, you know what? I need to get ahead. I'm stuck here and I know where I need to go, but I'm struggling getting there. So I jump ahead a few chapters and start writing that, and go from that scene onward and then come back and bridge the two. And so sometimes you got to do that. So don't feel like you have to write from page 1 to the final page. Start on page 1 and work your way. And then if you get stuck on page 10, but you know what you want to do on page 20 or something, just start either a new Word document or whatever sheet you're writing on, final draft, whatever it is. Go start another document or skip a few pages so there's some blank pages and put insert, this scene, and this scene in this spot, and then go to that new page you started and start going from there. That's another thing I would say. Just try not to stop writing. Like if you get stuck on something, just be like, insert so-and-so's death scene later, and then go to after the death scene and keep writing. Do you have that comic? Nice. Yeah, Monomyth. I think I did. I gave you some, right? Skullman says, my apologies, Seek. You're not a bad person. I just don't want you to associate yourself with bullies because that would break my heart considering how compassionate you are. Well, here's the thing. So let me ask you this. Yes, I'm sure you see some of these guys as bullies. I don't know all about Comicsgate. There was a couple people I'd seen their YouTube videos that I watched out of curiosity. I agree that there's some level of grift going on some of them. To me, the grift is they're telling people who think like them what they want to hear, and that's kind of the thing. But if you've watched my show, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I could have easily made 40 videos how Venom 2 is going to be rated R. And even though I knew deep down it wasn't going to be, I could have still made 40 videos on it just to tell people what they wanted to hear. And I didn't do that. I am not that type of person. So I appreciate that you think I'm a compassionate person. I try to be the best I can. Obviously, we all fail at things in our pursuit of trying to be human, right? We're trying to do better every day. But I find it that just because someone does something I don't like, now bullies, yes, I do naturally collide with the concept of a bully. If I had that recently at work, as you saw in one of my recent videos, and And I do that naturally. I'm like Captain America in that way, and Peter Parker. Like I don't like bullies. I don't think it's you should put someone down because of either who they are or how they think. But because I feel that way, I also try not to do it to people who disagree with me on stuff. So I kind of walk a fine line with that. You probably remember this, or you may not, Skullman. So correct me if I'm saying something you didn't hear me say before. But I come from the Charles Xavier School for Special Students, right? Or or gifted students. I've always really admired the concept of Professor X and his team, or the initial concept of them, which is to fight for people, even if those people hate them. And to me, you can't change somebody's mind. Like if you want to change a person, here's the thing: is if someone's really bad, like what bad means, murder or or bullying or stuff like that. Like those are things that are bad. So if you know someone like that, do you shut them out completely? Or do you try to engage in a conversation with them? And if they try to bully you, stand up to them so that they see, that's not going to work. That bully tactic's not going to work on you, at least. And if it's not going to work on you, it puts doubt in their head that it might work on anybody else. 300 was really good at that. Remember, they had Xerxes was like, this god, and just because he was taller than everybody else. And so what did they do? The Spartans cut his cheek, and then they died. So they fought like badasses, but all they really accomplished was cutting his cheek. But that little thing put doubt in Xerxes as a ruler. Okay, we've come across someone we can't bully, and because they weren't bullied, now I have doubt in my abilities. Now people around me who thought I was a god doubt that I'm a god because I'm bleeding in front of them. And now this is the beginning of my downfall. And bullies know that when you stand up to them like that, they know this is the point of no return. If I keep going forward as a bully, I'm going to run out of gas and I'm going to be alone. And, like they always say, when you're taking a helicopter somewhere or you're traveling somewhere by air, you pass the point where, okay, if we can't go, that was the point where we had to go back. If we were going to make it back home, we have to go to our destination now because we only have enough fuel to get us there. It's kind of that. I'm wording it wrong, but so for me, I take the Charles Xavier approach. If somebody is a different, has a completely different perspective on comics and like Comicsgate, like I would say me and those guys do not agree. But like my friend Mark and Eric, I think are kind of part of Comicsgate. I actually don't really know, to be honest with you. But I know they are good guys. I've worked with them. I know that they have no hatred in them. I know that they don't bully people. So for me, like it's I don't like to give up on friends, especially ones who were there for me when I needed someone. Like Mark is such a nice guy. When I was recovering from my aneurysm, he was texting me to check in. How are you doing? How's the book going? Is everything all right? Can I help you with anything? I mean, that is a friend. So nothing short of him murdering somebody would get me to stop being his friend. But I would certainly, if he did something that I didn't like, I would be like, hey, man, yeah, that's pretty rough what you did. And I would criticize him for it. But, he's a grown up person. I'm not his dad, so I try to be me and keep being me, hoping that it will rub off on people the longer they're around me, to learn to be more compassionate or to be more patient with people, because I got that from characters like Charles Xavier. So no, you don't owe me an apology. First of all, Skullman, I appreciate you explaining yourself and giving me your opinion. I just I don't like to blanket people. That's my only thing. Is like I would never say, oh, all people who wear blue shirts are this, or all people who wear sandals are this. Like all people of a race are this. Like I just don't like to blanket people. So I try to not give up on humanity in the sense that individually we are worth loving. And it's a hard thing to do sometimes, as you've seen in my recent streams. It's hard to treat people like that sometimes, but I'm trying. I want to I want to believe in people, but when they let you down, it's hard. Sometimes it brings out a different side of you, and And sometimes I go through that too. Agreed. Andrew says, and Julia says, speaking of Xavier, when you look at it by promoting peace between mutants and humans, he was kind of creating a false narrative that mutants are not humans. And so it furthered a division. See, I actually agree with that. That should never have existed any more than the difference between people with different skin colors. Julius and I have talked about this before, I think, too. I agree. I don't think he should have separated people, because his school didn't say school for gifted mutants. It said school for gifted people. So to me, the core of Xavier was, we are a part of humanity. We're just like the next evolutionary state, but that doesn't separate us from them. We're not, this isn't Cro-Magnon, looking back at Australopithecus or whatever, or no, actually I butchered that. So maybe Julius can correct me. But anyway, so like my point is that yes, that there at the core, there wasn't a division. Over time, it seemed like there was. Certainly now in the comics, there's a big division where mutants are like, we have our own island, and we need to be separated from humanity. And you're right, that creates a division. I always thought Xavier's school should have human and mutant students in it, and I think at one point it did, very briefly. But I always thought that would have been a more peaceful making. Then again, like, you would have parents that are like, my kids aren't going to your school. Like, he doesn't have powers. What if he gets shot with laser eyes, or a sentinel shows up to kill? And maybe that was Xavier's thing, is like, I can't have human kids here, because if sentinels do attack, I'm putting them in danger, and that's not fair either. So I don't know. I'm sure it's not an easy path Xavier has chosen. My problem with him as a character in the comics is most writers, I don't feel like, put that much thought into him. So now he's just like a guy with secrets, and he's like kind of creepy. And he was like flirting with Jean Grey at one point, which was like his first student. And it's like, it just got really weird after a while. So yeah, I agree though. Sparta. But so Skullman, because you know me, like, the kind of person I am, I hope if you feel like I do something where I am unfair, I hope you will still watch my show and call me out on it. I really do. I know that goes to all of you. Like, if you've seen enough Venom vlogs, you've seen enough live streams, you know what kind of person I am. So if you don't think I'm acting like that kind of person anymore, or you think I'm straying from a certain perspective or point of view you had of me, challenge me on it. Tell me, like, hey, I feel like you're kind of going, this way, and I will kind of explain myself, or it'll give me a chance to, like, notice what's, outside perspective helps. So anyway, to that person who it's like, dude, we're the most chill people in here, and then you just got to come in and get blocked. That's man, it's pathetic, because I'm like, I don't really block anyone. So that sucks. You could have just come in and been like, hey guys, what's up? And you would have been welcomed with open arms. Do you have any books that don't have to do with religion? I want to support you, but I don't think my mom would let me buy Monomyth since she's religious. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I ran into that too. You actually can't buy Monomyth. It's not in print anymore. I don't even think the trade paperback is anymore either. So you can't buy it. But yeah, if you go on Amazon and look my name up, Seek Donnelly, SIIKE DONNELLY, you'll see a couple books there. I think Alain Vital's on there. Soulstar. I would probably recommend Soulstar. Soulstar is something that I don't sell a lot of copies anymore, but when I do, I try to save that money. I think I get like $2 or $1 per copy that sells. And what I try to do is, after that turns into like $25 or $30, I donate it to the Aneurysm Foundation. So yeah, I mean, I haven't really sold that many copies in a while. So but I would say that's a better book, because it's kind of fun. It's lighthearted. There's no like message in it, other than it's about a superhero who's dying of a brain aneurysm. And so he finds out he has about a day to live. So he's going out. There's no more heroes in the world. He's the last superhero. It's mainly supervillains fighting him, So he spends his last day trying to convert one of his villains into a hero. So that way someone will still protect the world after he's gone. And that's my whole thing. Charles Xavier, like what I was saying, like if someone believes in something that I don't, and they're even if they're rude and even a little bullyish about it, I still want to try to communicate with them if I can, because I feel like shutting people out I would be a hypocrite in the stuff I say about inclusion and being a part of a bigger conversation. I would be a hypocrite to just shut people out, unless they come in and try to spell awful words in my chat. Then that's definitely someone just coming in and not knowing how to talk to people. They don't know how to make friends, so they come in with these, I did it for the lulz and I'm trolling or whatever. And it's like, well, or you could just figure out how to be a human being and just talk to us, because everyone in here is pretty awesome. Neanderthal, that's it. Yeah, sorry. What's Australopithecus? Is that before Neanderthal? Anyway, do you think Reign of X will end them accepting the fact that they are humans? I don't know. I haven't read it in a while. I read the first House of X and Powers of 10, and then I read all the number ones that they did, and then I think they did a relaunch not too long ago, and I read some of those, and that was it. I mean, I haven't read anything since, so I don't know what's going on, like the X Lies of Wolverine and all that. I have no idea what any of that is, or Reign of X. I don't even think I know what Reign of X is, actually. I never make blatant statements which tend to do nothing productive. However, I will sometimes say there could be a high or low correlation. Yeah, I mean, the world is gray, right? I don't believe in this extreme or that extreme. I'm not trying to be a fence sitter either. I have my opinions and I stand for the stuff I believe in, but I still try to give a little wiggle room to learn. I think I say this all the time. Bruce Lee has a lot of great quotes, and one of them is like, oh, there's Ace. One of them is, be like water. Water can flow or water can crash. If you pour water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. If you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. So he's basically saying, be fluid, be adaptable. Some things will push you to be a little meaner, and then you'll balance yourself out by being nicer, and you'll kind of just flow the way water flows, right? So to me, as long as you flow more positive and you try, you keep trying, I think at the end of the day, that's all, is expected of you. I think a lot of times I did this at work, I learned this from being a manager, where there's some people you're just like, man, they're just not work. Why won't they work? Just get to work. Why aren't your job? Why aren't you doing it? But sometimes you forget that people need a push. Sometimes people just need an ear to listen, to listen to what they have to say. Sometimes they actually want advice. Sometimes they don't. Everyone is so different that you can't just give up on people based on a surface level thing that you see or a one-time experience that you have. It takes work, it takes work to connect sometimes. And I think some people just don't want to put that work in. And I understand. I mean, I was like that before, and I still kind of get like that sometimes now. So I think the key though, is you try to do that less and less. If you have a flaw that you see in yourself that you don't like, just try doing it less and less. And that's the same thing with writing. There's things in writing that I hate when I do it. And so I write it all down. And then when I go through and I'm editing, I'm like, I started the sentence with and or so. I always do that. Even when I talk, I always start with those words sometimes. So like I just did now, cut them, cut that. And that's what I do. I go through and cut it all. You guys are stretching my brain as I enjoy this delicious baked potato. Love the discussion. Oh, thanks, Lisa. Ooh, baked potato. God, I need to get one of those. Maybe I'll get one after work tomorrow. That would be really lovely. Yeah, I don't read X-Men, but whenever this current Xavier shows up in King of Black, for example, I'm confused why he looks like or comes across like a villain. Yeah, I'm with you. Julia says he was killed during Avengers vs. X-Men, but was brought back and inhabits the body of Phantom X, which is why he looks the way he does. Oh, that's right. Phantom X. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. I forgot. I can't. There it goes. You forgot how to control it. What? Math 666. All right, everybody stop what you're doing. We got a sphincter problem here, and this guy needs our help, or girl. Well, I'm sorry. You know what? Sometimes we lose control, right? I mean, we're only human. So I get it. Just get some wet wipes or something. Go into a closet or a bathroom and just fart, let it all out, whatever it is. But good luck to you, Math 666. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah, it was before Neanderthal. Australopithecus was the earliest human ancestor to walk upright. That's right. Okay, thank you. Because I'm like, am I making up that word? I was like, I'm not a paleontologist, but yeah. Hey, you're yes, everyone, red light, stop what you're doing. You're welcome for the advice. I don't know if it's good advice. You tell me. You know, maybe like next live stream, you come in and you give us an update on your on your other side. Anyway, all right. So before we go, though, if you guys want, I was gonna wrap this up in about 10 minutes. But would you guys like to talk about 2 DC characters while I unbox some figures? Which 2 would you like? I mean, first of all, answer yes or no. Would you like to hang out for like another 20 minutes? And maybe we'll talk about Batman for 10 minutes while I'm unboxing them and then Catwoman? Or would you rather me spend the next 20 minutes unboxing Superboy Prime and talking about him and Lobo and talking about him? So cast your votes. Yes or no? And do you want Batman Catwoman or Superboy Lobo? Oh, Riddle John's into it. Yeah, they made a TikTok episode about Australopithecus. Did they really? A tick episode. I'm sorry, TikTok. I'm sorry. A tick episode. I think I remember that. Maybe that's where I got the word from. I love the tick. Spoon. Prime and Lobo. Okay. So sorry. As you know, I try not to drink too much on stream, but I'm talking a lot. So, we got a Batman vote now. So we got 2 votes for Prime and Lobo, and we have 1 for Batman. Anybody else want to go for Batman Catwoman, or do we have a vote here? I promise you this, Lisa. I will if Batman doesn't win today, we'll do another one. We'll do another live stream coming up soon, and I'll unbox them. But I have to keep 2 in the box because in case something happens financially over the next couple days or week, I want to make sure I can go return these and get some groceries if I need to in a pinch. So, okay, Lobo, because I don't know who that is. Okay, all right. So we'll do Lobo and Superboy Prime this time, and next time we'll do Batman and Catwoman. So, all right, we'll start with Lobo. First of all, McFarlane Figures. I love these toys so much. They're the only things I collect. I actually don't collect video games anymore. Like I used to buy new video games when they come out. I just don't have the money. So if I buy a video game now, it's usually because it's $5 on sale, like on digitally on PlayStation or Xbox. But comic books, I don't buy monthly comic books anymore. So I've kind of cut out everything. Transformers, I had a chance to buy the new line of Transformers from the Bumblebee movie. I did not. I would still love them one day, but I just financially. And Halo, I'm caught up on the figures I want. There's 2 other ones out there I'd like to get. They're just too expensive, and I don't think I'm ever going to own them. So for me, the only thing I consistently buy and have for the past 2 years now, because they started coming out in January 2020 when I lived in LA. And the last thing I bought before leaving LA, coming here, was the first wave of McFarlane figures, which was like Superman, Batman. I didn't buy Arrow, but I did buy a couple of the other ones. So, and I didn't buy Harley Quinn, but I think I bought all the rest. So ever since then, I've been collecting these figures. They are just my favorite. I grew up collecting McFarlane figures. I'm a big Spawn guy. And now that he's doing DC figures, it's just the perfect blend of my 2 favorite things. So if you are out there and you're on the fence of, collecting these, I would say give them a shot. They're really awesome. If nothing else, at least buy 1 or 2 of your favorite characters because the detail on these is insane. Absolutely insane. Andrew says, making me choose between Batman and Prime Lobo. Gotta go with Prime Time and Main Man. There you go. Awesome. Sweet. Are you, Joss, are you related to Joss Drake? Are you related to Will Jordan? Oh, what's up, Indie Comics? Jones, welcome over. Lobo made his first appearance at Omega Men. He's a galactic bounty hunter. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Lobo. Thank you, Julius. Yes, he's a bounty hunter, intergalactic bounty hunter. He's a Zarnian. That's I think that's the race he's a part of. And I've always thought a Rob Zombie movie about Lobo would be the perfect movie for Lobo. Although I will say, if you haven't seen Krypton yet, the show that was on Sci-Fi Channel, there's 2 seasons of it. I think it's on HBO Max. Do yourself a favor and watch that show. It's got Adam Strange in it. It's got Zeg, who is like Superman's grandfather on Krypton. And it's kind of their story. But in season 2, they bring in Lobo. And he's awesome. So they actually did a really good job of him on that. In Young Justice and in the Justice League cartoon, he's a great character. He actually showed up on Justice League. I don't know if it was Justice League or Justice League Unlimited. I think it was Justice League. It was a 2-part story where Superman got sent to the future with Vandal Savage, and the Justice League now didn't have a Superman. So Lobo shows up to take the role, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here. I'll be your new leader." And they're like, "What?" And because he's as strong as Superman, but he's a real d-bag. He calls everyone a bastich. That's like his bad word. A poozer. No, not poozer. That's a kilowog. What's the other word he has? Keezy femme is a bad word he calls women whenever like they fight him. So he's got all these like really awful like slurs from outer space that he says. But he's just like an absolute d-bag. But he's strong. He's as strong as Superman. I mean, he can go toe to toe with Superman for sure. And he rides around on this crazy like intergalactic motorcycle that with no wheels, but it's like a hover motorcycle. He flies around, and he's got like a bulldog that's like his companion, and he just goes around hunting people down. And so in the cartoon, in the Superman animated series, he actually gets hired to go hunt down Superman because he's the last Kryptonian. And then when he brings Superman in, Lobo gets captured too by the same alien because Lobo is the last Zarnian. If you want to see a newer cartoon version of him, besides Young Justice, there's Superman Man of Tomorrow. It's an animated movie. Rent that and watch it. That's actually a pretty decent interpretation of Lobo as well. He's a lot of fun. But I always thought Rob Zombie playing him in the movie and directing it would have been great. And I could see him that was like back then. I don't know if he could, probably not now. I don't think that would work now. But my friend Gene, he thinks that Jason Momoa would have made a good Lobo. And I could see that too. But for me, it was always Rob Zombie because I thought, man, have a cool heavy metal soundtrack to it with Rob Zombie, doing collaborations with other metal bands and stuff, kind of the way Jonathan Davis did collaborations with other groups for the Queen of the Damned soundtrack. So I actually had this whole thing in my head for a Lobo movie once. And these toys, they come with a trading card and a stand to put the figure on. I'm not going to open those up right now because those actually make a lot of noise when you're trying to break them out. And I want to focus because once I accidentally bent one of the trading cards, and I would like to not do that if possible. And let me not cut this right in front of the microphone. I'm sure that was not fun for you earphone listeners. I'm sorry for that. Ooh. Okay. Ace is looking at me like, what's going on? So Lobo, the main man, his back says, "Bite me, fanboy." He always had fun things printed on the back of his jacket. He's kind of like a motorcyclist, right? Like from space, but he's like an a-hole. I always loved it. He always carries around this big chain with a hook on the end. And that's how he ropes in some of his prey, so he got this big hook. That's so cool. The detail on these figures is just amazing. There's some cool Lobo comics. He was really big in the early 90s and mid 90s. They did this one story called Lobo's Back's Back, because he's like, Lobo's back, and he's pointing at his back. So it says Lobo's back's back. Just stupid things like that. He's kind of, I wouldn't say he's fourth wall breaking like Deadpool, but he's kind of in the spirit of, you could do stuff like that with him and it doesn't feel completely out of place. But yeah, he's an awesome character. The last Zarnian, that's right, he is. You had me at Rob Zombie. I would have loved Rob Zombie to play him and direct the movie. I think that would have, and do a cool dystopian, crazy, bounty hunter movie. I just thought that would have been so awesome. And something with Lobo you can do is you can do things with him like for example, Mandalorian. Mandalorian is a badass bounty hunter who meets this little Grogu, Baby Yoda thing, and it kind of softens his heart. And he's like, okay, well, I was abandoned as a child, and a Mandalorian rescued me, so maybe I'll do that for this thing and let it live. So it's for whatever reason it connected, like Lone Wolf and Cub style. You could actually do that with Lobo with his bulldog. You could have it to where he's just this loner for a whole movie, and then or for a whole season of a show, and then the second season he finds something that he cares about, and it's this dog. There was this cool moment where his dog fought the Red Lantern cat, in the comics from the Green Lantern Corps or the Red Lantern Corps. And that was a lot of fun too. So yeah, if you don't know Lobo, like he appears a lot in Superman and Justice League comics. So I think that's a better gateway. If you go and pick up a Lobo #1 digitally or something on Comixology, which by the way, I always recommend Comixology, because if you can't get to a comic store and you have access to Comixology or have an account there, you can buy old comics for like 99 cents to $1 digitally and just own it. So I would say you can scroll through some Justice League comics and you'll see them on a cover. I think Man of Steel issue 35 or something. That's a really good issue. I have the physical copy. I have to go dig for it, so I can't do that right now. But the cover was really cool because it was a cover of Metropolis, front and back, like a wraparound cover, and inside came with a bunch of stickers. And the point was to open up the cover and then put the stickers of Superman and Lobo fighting, and there'd be stickers of like debris, so you can stick that on the side of a building and put the sticker of Superman crashing into the building over it, so it looked like Lobo punched Superman into a building, and you could decorate your cover with all these stickers. And I always thought that was an amazingly fun idea, and it was only done, I think, the one time in comics. But I have 2 copies of that comic, one where I'm putting stickers on it, and because I still haven't put all of them on there, and then another that's sealed in case I want to do it again one day. But yeah, that's fun. So, but yeah, you could watch Superman Man of Tomorrow, the animated movie. They had a pretty cool Lobo story in there too. Rob wouldn't be able to cast his wife as Lobo. Hold on, I got to see that. So he'd never do it. I know, but you know what? But his wife could be a villain in the movie or something. Because like I said, he calls women that fight him and beat him up Keezy Femmes. So I could see Rob Zombie like fighting his wife and being like Keezy Femme and then pulling out the hook and trying to get her with it. So I could see that still. So she'd still have a role in the movie, I think. But yeah, so yeah, Lobo's a blast, man. Fragging, that's the word. He says fragging a lot. Yeah. Space slurs. Yes, he's got a lot of space slurs. I love that DC has recently used Superboy Prime and Lobo to save the multiverse in comics. Lobo in Krypton was amazing. I really liked him in Krypton. That show was way better than I thought it was going to be. When I heard the premise when I was like, there's no way that's going to be a fun show. And then I watched it and I was like, this is a damn fun show. And visually, it was really good. When people say, DC TV shows suck, I'm like, watch Krypton and actually watch Lois and Superman, or Superman and Lois. I really like that show. And I liked the first 2 seasons of Arrow and the first season of Flash. I haven't really liked any of that other stuff since then. I love Doom Patrol, but I do not like Titans either. Don't forget he likes dolphins. Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. He does. Lobo loves dolphins. That's right. Mad Scientist Party Hour. What's up? How's it going, guys? Welcome in. Sorry, I'm just getting to the comments. Lobo and his faithful flipper with a friggin' laser beam attached to its forehead. That's it, exactly. That's it, exactly. You could do fun stuff like that in Lobo, and it's great. I could see Hulk Hogan being Lobo. He could have at one point. I don't know about now, but he could have at one point. Yeah, that's a mean hook, right? For sure. Lobo was paid by the Easter Bunny to kill Santa. Oh, that's right. That's he's right about that. I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, like I said, you can do really wacky stuff with Lobo. Have you read the new Lobo books like Crush and Lobo or Superman vs. Lobo? Join late if you already mentioned it. I didn't. And by the way, if you guys aren't subscribed to Mad Scientist Party Hour, check them out. My friend Kevin and Shuddy and Jeff, Jeff, they're all amazing dudes. Kevin, my former roommate, but one of my best friends ever. And he's part of the Jason Ellis show, and he's such a talented and funny dude. And Mad Science Party Hour is such a blast. So if you haven't heard me on that show before, you can check those episodes out. But otherwise, check all their other stuff out. I actually don't like listening to the episodes I'm on. I like listening to the ones everyone else is on. And recently they did like a D&D campaign where I provided a couple of voiceovers for, and it was a blast. So definitely check that out. As far as Crush and Lobo, I haven't read that. Actually, I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. But Lobo vs. Superman, I do know that that's a one of their big printed books, right? Like the Black Label. And I have not read that. So if that's any good, let us know, because I'd love to hear someone's perspective on that, because maybe it'll be something for Lisa to do. I actually don't know what that says, but hello, welcome to the party. Lisa, what did Santa do to deserve that? Well, he's a bastich, right? Hey, Lobo, just if he gets paid, he gets to take someone down. He doesn't ask questions. He just goes and does it. Yeah, his wife could play Emerald Empress. There you go. Easter Bunny was jealous that Christmas was more popular than Easter. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. See, do you think you can wear a do-rag? Do I think I can wear one? I mean, I know how. I can put one on between my head and a motorcycle helmet. So sure. I mean, I could probably wear a do-rag. Should I? Should I just should people no longer see the top of my head? What's up, Splash of Dawn? Welcome, by the way. Wow, that is one bitter bunny. That is true. Hey, Tello, how's it going? Is it Teo or Tello? Let me know in the comments. Should I pronounce the two L's as a Y sound, or is it Tello? Because I think I said Tello last time you were here, and I don't want to mispronounce that. Julia says, and that leads into Lobo versus Authority. Jenny Quantum, after reading Lobo versus Santa, opens the bleed to bring Lobo to the Wildstorm universe so he can take revenge on him. That I don't remember, I don't think, actually. That's crazy. Oh, that's a spam. Okay, that's a spam person. Gotcha. Cool. Well, welcome, spam bot person. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for the view in the comment. That's counts as engagement. Tello, like to tell a lot. It doesn't matter how you say it. Okay, all right. Well, tell to tell a lot. Okay. All right, so we got one more figure. Let's get into Superboy Prime. Now that we've kind of gushed about Lobo, let's try to spend about maybe 5 or 10 minutes on good old Superboy Prime here. So this character is very meta. Superboy Prime is a kid named Clark Kent from Kansas, and in his world, he is just a kid that lives in Kansas, and I believe he has superpowers also. I think he might even be from Krypton also, but he kind of exists in our world. But Superman, the character, is a comic book character in his world also. So I think that's, and he gets made fun of. They're like, oh, look, Clark Kent, like the comic book character, but you're an actual real dork. You're not a superhero. And what ends up happening is he gets pulled into the multiverse, and it turns out he is Superman. He does have powers. He's just a kid. But he's kind of a bratty kid. At least that's how Jeff Johns reinterpreted him. But that first story with him in it, was it Kurt Busiek, or I can't remember. Someone wrote a really good story about that, Superboy Prime, about existing in, the real world and being made fun of. I think it's called Secret Identity, Superman Secret Identity. Maybe that's not the same character, but I know that's that's also the premise of Secret Identity. So anyway, so Superboy here, he ended up getting pulled into Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is one of the biggest DC stories of all time. In the 80s, they were looking to reboot the universe. They kind of did a New 52 where they rebooted everybody except Batman, kind of, and a couple other characters. Much like in New 52, they rebooted everybody kind of again, except Batman got a soft reboot and Green Lantern got a soft reboot, but everybody else kind of got a full reboot. And that was kind of the same thing with Crisis on Infinite Earths. But in there was an Alexander Luthor, or Lex Luthor, who was a hero from another world who was trying to save the multiverse. And he teamed up with Superboy Prime here. And then he also teamed up with the old Golden Age Superman and his Lois Lane. And the four of them essentially saved the universe and sacrificed themselves to be trapped into a crystal, which brought all the multiverses into like one crystal thing, existing around and outside of time, and just creating one DC timeline for a while until the multiverse started coming back, obviously. So Superboy here, he was kind of a puppet to Alexander Luthor. Alexander Luthor, after they had made this big sacrifice, they looked down at the DC universe and they were like, well, this sucks. Like, we sacrificed our lives and the DC universe is screwed up again. People are dying, Barry Allen is dead, there's all these bad things happening. Superman died. Like, we don't like what's happening. We feel like we sacrificed ourselves for nothing. So Alexander Luthor convinces Superboy Prime to punch his way through the source wall or crystal wall that separated them from the DC universe. And they did, and thus began a really great story called Infinite Crisis. So I actually really love Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's a hallmark story for DC lore and a good goodbye tribute to one universe while introducing a new universe. But then now you have this, where it was Infinite Crisis, which came out like in 2005. And that has more Superboy Prime in it. So Superboy Prime ends up, there's a being called the Monitor, and it's like this big giant Galactus-looking being. For Marvel fans, that's the best comparison, kind of. And he's a world destroyer, everything like that, universe destroyer. And so what they end up doing is, in Christ on Infinite Earth, the Monitor is killed. Well, his shell and his powers were being used to create a tower to bring back the multiverse. And Alexander Luthor and Superboy Prime were going to hand pick, okay, we like this origin of this character and this origin of this character, but we like this, we like that Jason Todd didn't die over here. So we're going to bring all this stuff back and we're going to put it all and make our own DC universe. And that's kind of what they were trying to do. And Superboy needed more power to fight the heroes, so he wears the Monitor's armor to amplify himself. And then he just kind of became known from that moment on as Superboy Prime. But he's like this really whiny kid. He's a brat. He doesn't really have any compassion. He's not Superman, that's for sure. And he doesn't even have like the good morals of the Kent raising him, even though they did raise him kind of. So, sorry. So here he is. And it looks like a piece already broke off. And I'll have to glue it on. So be careful if you try to take him out of the packaging. This pipe will probably come out. It's hanging on by a thread there. But see, now it's gone. It came out. So so it popped off. So just be careful. I didn't know that was that fragile. But a little bit of glue will fix that. So I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, anyway, so Superboy Prime, evil guy for the most part. But like someone said earlier, he was brought back during Death Metal to help save the universe. So he actually did finally get a redemption arc, which is something I'd always hoped he would get. Because I feel like he is a brat. He is misunderstood, but he was a puppet. And he's very emotional. And I can relate to that. I'm an emotional guy too. And so I've always hoped that he would one day get control of those emotions and do the right thing. And he recently did. And so I really like that. So yeah, this guy he's a really neat character. A lot of fun, I'm sure, to write on a lot of levels. Let's catch up on some comments here. I just finished watching Maximum Venom on Disney Plus. Nice. How'd you like it? Let me know. Prime, he's here. No, he was from Krypton, but instead of being rocketed to Earth, Jor-El opened a portal to Earth and sent him there. That Earth being pre-crisis Earth Prime. DC Comics presents 97. Thank you, Julius. I'm so glad you're on this stream with me. So there you go. I'll leave the information up there for a second so you guys can read it. Yes, so he actually was from Krypton. That's what I thought, because I thought the whole thing was he was Superman, but he lived in a world where Superman was also a comic book character. So people made fun of him because they were like, oh yeah, you're a dork and you're not really Superman. But he really was. He really did have the powers of Superman. And he really did have the origin of Superman. So there was like a meta aspect of him. There was one point where Jeff Johns in Adventure Comics tried to put him back in his own universe and give him a happy ending and make his family alive again. Because Superboy Prime during Infinite Crisis, he like rips someone's arm off and he's like, no, I'm sorry. And they're like, dude, you're supposed to be Superman. And he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, you guys are like, you're yelling at me and and he starts acting like a bratty teenager and he's like reacting with these powers. And he's like cutting people in half, chopping people in half and lasering their faces off. And he just kind of goes crazy. And so I think Jeff Johns wanted to bottle him back up and give him a happy ending where his girlfriend and his mom and dad were still alive. And so in one comic, he did get put back there. But then I think somewhere along the line, someone wrote him back out. And then I noticed he popped up in Shazam recently when Jeff Johns was writing Shazam. And then I think that was because he probably heard the character was going to come back during Death Metal. And so he squeezed a little story into his Shazam book with Superboy Prime. But like I said, in Death Metal, I think he kind of redeemed himself. So I think that was the story he did it in. And that kind of helped bring a little bit of closure to him. Got to go. Girlfriend wants to chat. Hey, no problem, Drake. Have a go, man. Good to see you. You and Seek have convinced me to learn more about Lobo. I think you'll like Lobo. If you're already drawn to him and if the Rob Zombie thing made you smile, I would love to hear you to know that at some point down the road that you checked out a Lobo comic and what you think about it. From there, he meets up with Silver Age Superman Earth 1 during Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's right. The Golden Age Superman. In Omega Man, he makes sporadic appearances. The first time he fights Superman is in Post-Crisis, the first Krypton Man saga. Yes, that's right. That's a great book too. The Krypton Man crossover thing, because that's also I think where the Eradicator or soon around that time, they started introducing the concept of the Eradicator. So that's really cool. Yeah, I love all that Lobo stuff though. So good. That is also the story where Maxima comes to Earth to force Superman to marry him. I want a Maxima toy from McFarlane so bad. Maxima is a great character. Let's talk about her for 2 seconds. Maxima is a great character because because of that. She's like a toxic female. she's like this warrior from this race that is all warrior women, kind of like Wonder Woman, but like more toxic. She wants a mate. So she's going around looking for a man who can take her punch because she's so strong. So if she punches someone and they don't like flinch or don't move, she's like, okay, like you might be worth marrying, but let's like battle. And if you can keep me from killing you long enough, I think you'll be a good mate. And so she meets Superman, and Superman's like fighting her off, but she's like, yeah, I love this. Like you're actually can go toe to toe with me. So she even joined the Justice League for a while leading up to Superman's death. But I love Maxima. I love that character so much. I think I did a Patreon 2 years ago. I had a Patreon for like 6 months. And on that, I would upload one podcast a week that was about Superman. And I was going through his whole history. And that was pretty much exclusive to Patreon, but I deleted my Patreon, but I saved all 16 of those episodes. My hope was to one day upload them here. But I didn't want people who donated to the Patreon to feel like that I was giving it away for free now, when they had to pay for it back then. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So any suggestions for that? If you guys ever want to hear those podcasts, let me know, because I don't mind sharing them again one day. I did a whole episode on Maxima and Superman, and it was such a blast talking about that character. And then he later joins Legion, which is one of those series that does not get proper respect. I love Legion, and I really liked it when they changed during, I think it was before New 52. They were called Rebels. And Lobo joined the Rebels. And again, they put R.E. They put the periods in between each letter. But it was Vril Dox, who was the son of Brainiac. He was one of the leaders of Legion. He now leads this group called Rebels. And I think Lobo said the letters because they were like, what does Rebel stand for? And Lobo goes, random everyday bastages ending Legion supremacy. I can't believe I still remember that. But I think Tony Bedard is someone I got to know a little bit in California. And I heard him say that at a panel, and it just kind of stuck in my head. But yeah, random everyday bastages ending Legion supremacy. so freaking good. Dang you, Todd. Yes, I know, right? Prime was acting like the ultimate fanboy. He really was. He was like in a meta way. He was like a fan who doesn't like what is happening in comics, so he wants to change it. That's pretty much a little bit what Infinite Crisis was to an extent, and what Superboy Prime's arc was. In a meta way, he was the fanboy that was like, oh, I don't like that they did, like me with Venom with Donny Cates. So that's why I relate to Superboy Prime, and why deep down I root for him to do something good, because I'm like, wow, you're capable of it. You got to be, man. Like you're Clark Kent. There's got to be good in you. What's up, Andy Babak? How's it going, dude? Good to see you. Good to see ya. Yeah, Eradicator is the Krypton Man program that tried to brainwash Superman to be more Kryptonian and make Earth into a new Krypton. I have that whole series, those issues of Krypton Man, and because I'm a collector of the Eradicator, I have a lot of his appearances. I'm a big fan of him and Superboy and Steel. So I have a lot of their appearances. I'm a big fan of those characters. Cyborg Superman, when he showed up in Green Lantern, I liked him more over there, but I didn't really like him as a Superman villain. All right, so there we go. So we talked a little bit about comics. We talked about Monomyth, got to say hi to some friends, and then now, we did some toy openings for Superboy Prime that I have to glue now, but that's okay. And then Lobo, and I'll add these to my shelf. And then maybe next time, like I said, I'm going to keep them in the box, because if I need them, I can return them and get some grocery money, at like Walmart. But what I might do is if my check tomorrow is a decent sized check, then maybe at some point we'll do another one of these episodes where we talk about Catwoman and Batman. And I think that would be good. I mean, I hope I don't have to bring these back. I'm going to do everything I can not to, because with the new movie coming up, I would love to, dissect these characters before we go into the movie. So yeah, I'll do my best. I don't know if I'll dissect the Riddler and Penguin, but I will definitely review the new Batman movie after I see it when it comes out. But since I caught up on comments and we're about an hour and 20 minutes in, I do got to get back to writing, and it's almost 9, so I got to walk Ace because his new medicine makes him go to the bathroom a lot. So it's been like maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So we should probably walk him again. So thank you all so much for being here. I do appreciate it. And everyone, Julius, thanks for hanging out. Andy, Mad Scientist, for showing up. The bot that we had, the guy with the sphincter problem, the guy I blocked. Like I said, Julius here, Tello, Splash the Dawn. What's up? I got a lot of random questions, and then people didn't re-talk to me. Like that one guy, Splash, he says, "Do you think you can wear a do-rag?" And then went away. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not. I don't like put on hats for YouTube. so I don't think so. But Andrew, I'm trying to go up and scroll here. Cam, thank you all for being here. Indie Comics, even though you came in and had a question for Drake for some reason. Riddle John, Myth. Oh yeah, that was the sphincter person. Who's the one I blocked? Seize the Day. And Skullman. And thanks Skullman too for, I mean, like I said, I understand your perspective. And I maybe don't even disagree with it on some level. I just hate, I myself have trouble making blanket statements. So that's why, but I appreciate you hearing me out. And I hope you, you do good too. Wait, what is that? What is that? What the heck, man? No, not at the end of the stream. Come on, what? So happy I could hang out. Thank you, Lisa says, with $20. Why? We're at the end of the stream. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that, man? Like, you guys don't owe me anything. Like, you guys don't, like the other day, with Mike Z and everybody, it's just, it means a lot. I appreciate it. And I really, really do appreciate that. Do you want me to hang out for a few more minutes? Like, now I feel bad. I feel bad leaving. Like, I don't know what to do now. Oh man. Let's go for a couple more minutes then. How about that? I feel weird because I know I just said goodbye, but I feel weird just taking that and running. Like I kind of want to, I don't know. I feel like I didn't give you $20 worth today. So yeah. Oh man, we got a lot of spam people in here. Yeah. I know that. Old helmet. I know that. I know. It's like race car spelled backwards is race car. And then, strap on spelled backwards is no parts. Duh. Everybody knows that. But thank you. And thanks to whatever that is. It shows appreciation. Go walk your pooch. Okay. Well, that's funny. Thank you. Well, okay. Yes, I will walk him because he's kind of looking at me now like, I think you said we were going to leave. Well, I'll try to go a little longer on the next stream then. And hopefully we'll catch you on the next one, Lisa. Thank you so much. I mean, that means just absolutely a lot to me. And I'm glad you enjoyed the show that much. And everyone else, I know you guys all, you all being here is just, that's enough. Like, please, you don't have to do anything more than that. Just having you here and liking the video and talking to me is way more than I deserve. So I appreciate that you're doing that. Thank you so much. And I will see you all next time. Peace.